So, welcome everybody. I'm Amantha King. I'm the founder of Amantha King Coaching, and I'm super excited. There's a massive smile on my face for a very big reason. I've been trying for ages to get my guest who's sat here on to talk to me, and the reason he's not been on for so long is because he's been so busy with so many things. I'd like to introduce the very amazing, the very inspirational Keith Mason. Hello, Keith.
How you doing, Alpha? You all right?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Lovely to see you, and thanks for really sparing me the time, because for anybody who doesn't know Keith, there can't be that many people that don't know Keith. Keith Mason is father, actor, athlete, creator of RugbyBlood, and you and your partner Riona are just a sensation of 2020, 2021. I know you've been together a lot longer than that. Yeah. I first discovered you during lockdown, as many of us probably turned to our mobile phones and social media for a bit of entertainment, and you cropped up, and I just became fascinated by you, by both of you, ever since. And I'm sure lots of people say that about you, because what you resonate is hope, resilience, optimism, courage. And I just wanted to interview you to talk to you about, how does a story like that unfold for a lad that's growing up in the north of England? I mean, what is it that you can tell us about your life story that means that you are someone who not just helps yourself but to be more resilient, but you help others? You know, your story of Riona. What can you tell us about your journey to where you are now?
Yeah, so obviously, I was born in Dewsbury. I was one of five. I was the second to youngest. My mum, Catherine Fallis, she brought pretty much all the kids up on her own. My mum's my inspiration. She was working 3 jobs, and I think that's where I got my work ethic. And obviously, I became a professional rugby player, and I played all over the world. Played for 14 years, and I played for my country. But before I got to that spot, it was very tough, because I was a kid with a lot of energy, got kicked out of most of my schools, and I was a headache for my mum, and I wouldn't necessarily say I was a bad kid. I just went through a naughty phase where I was in and out of the trouble on the wrong side of the tracks, seeing stuff that kids shouldn't see. So, and I've been down the negative road, and I was down there for a lot of years as a young kid, being told I'd never make it, never do anything with my life. And I was always different to other kids, but I always had a big heart. I always helped people. In fact, the most of the times I got in trouble at school was because I was sticking up for kids who were getting bullied, and I was literally bullying the bullies, and that's what got me into trouble. So for me, really, I wasn't doing anything wrong, and I was always a physical type of kid. It took me probably getting arrested over 50 times and over 40 appearances at court from the ages of 10 to 14, which looking back, it's just incredible how I turned my life around. And it took me to the last time I got into trouble. It was the last time I went to court. This was the 45th time I'd been to court. Now, I know I'd put my mum through a lot of grief, and the one thing I was good at was rugby. So I went to court, Crown Court. My friend, who I did most of my misdemeanors with, he went to jail. And I knew then I was on my own. I had to really book my ideas up and turn my life around. And it's so weird, because I came out of court and I had to have this epiphany that I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be a professional rugby player. And I was willing to do anything to make that possible. So from the very next day, I cut all my friends off, stopped smoking weed as a young kid, which I shouldn't have been, and cut the crowd off, and I just put the blinkers on, and I started running every single day. And I joined my local team, and we won the competition under 16s, Dewsbury Moor. I got selected for Yorkshire, then for England schoolboys. Then from England schoolboys, I came back. All the players from England schoolboys had been signed on professional contracts with all the Super League teams, apart from me, and which I found was strange. So I went to 3 clubs, Bradford, I got rejected. Castleford, I got rejected. And Leeds, the coach turned around and said to me that I'd never be a Super League player. Now, 1 rejection's enough, 2 rejections catastrophic, and 3 rejections, no one's going to bounce back from that. But I did. And I was going to quit. But, it was actually my old man, who I didn't really have nothing to do with as a young kid. He just came on the scene when I started doing well for myself. And he told me to give it one last shot. And I did. And I went to Wakefield. I signed for Wakefield. And that following year, I played first team. I played Super League. So not only did I prove the coach wrong, I actually, within 2 years of signing my first contract, I signed for Melbourne Storm, which was the biggest rugby league club in the world. And that was 12,000 miles away in Australia. I had a standout season playing first team football at 18. And ironically, the team that said I'd never play Super League came back in and offered me a 4-year deal because they knew that Melbourne wanted to sign me, and they asked me not to talk to Melbourne. And I just thought it was very ironic that they came back in and offered me a lot of money. And only 3 years before that, they said I'd never make it. So my advice to kids out there, if someone tells you can't do it, you can. You just got to believe in yourself. Simple as. My journey, my testimony is blueprint for anybody out there who can get arrested 50 times and go to court 45 times and see drugs, the lot, and still turn your life around. And that's what I did. And I'm very blessed, because I had a wonderful mum who loved me and supported me. And I'm glad I turned things around just to make her proud. And I've just gone from strength to strength. I've retired at 31. I played in 3 Challenge Cup finals, won a Challenge Cup with St Helens, played for my country, played around 300 games, top flight. And then I did the film with Mickey Rourke, who I met on that fateful evening in London. I played at Wembley in a final. And then I saw Mickey Rourke walk past me in a bar. We got invited to Stringfellas after. Introduced myself to Mickey. We became best friends, and he flew me out to Hollywood and down. Anytime I'd go to New York to see him, and then he just give me a call one day and he says, "You want to be in a film?" And that's how my acting career started. So I went from doing Skin Traffic, where it was a speaking role, and I just knew after I'd done the film, I just thought, you know what? If I put as much effort into this as I did my career, maybe I'll be a good actor. And lo and behold, I didn't realize it'd take this long to really start making some progress. It's been about 8 years since I've made my on-screen. And I've just landed a remake of a movie, a Bollywood movie, but it's actually a Hollywood movie now. So I'm hoping to go to America in June for 3 months. I'm talking about doing a franchise with 5 movies as a lead actor, and another film called The Journeyman, Cookster, and the film I've just produced, Imperative, where I play DCI Jack Sullivan, which is a serial killer thriller based in Yorkshire, and I play the cop hunting down the serial killer. So all that's fun, that's great. It's brilliant. All the hard work is paying off, and I'm really excited about the next 5 to 10 years and, where I can progress to. And then there's a story with me and Riona, coming into Riona's life, a lady who suffered a spinal stroke. All her family walked out on her, coming from a school teacher, very attractive lady. Now we're paralyzed from the neck down. And she asked me for help, and I came into her life. And first of all, I was just, training her, helped her walk, helped her take her first steps, her first squat. And, she got really emotional. And I was very professional, by the way. It wasn't like, I wasn't flirting.
No.
As per se, because she was still technically married, but that wasn't going really well anyway. I didn't know much about that until we rekindled this relationship the second time, because I trained her for about 8 weeks. She made loads of gains, and then she said she couldn't train no more. I think she was getting pressure from her physios,
right,
the family, and I just wished her all the best. And a couple of months later, I saw a post on Facebook. She'd broken up with a business partner who she was doing charity work with, because she likes to help people, Riona. She's like me, she gives back.
Yeah.
And I just reached out and said, "Hey, are you okay, Riona? I've heard about, I've heard what's happened, and if you ever want to go for a coffee, I'm up for going for coffee." And so she took me on, and she says, well, I'll meet you tonight if you want. I went, oh, sweet.
Brilliant.
We went for a coffee. It was my friend's restaurant, Turkish restaurant. We had a Turkish tea. And this time round, it wasn't Keith the trainer, it was Keith. It was me, and we spoke about faith and perseverance and mental health and all kinds of stuff. And that's where as relationship blossomed, as they say. And we really helped each other out. She was in a tough place. I was in a tough, dark place, because when I retired from rugby, it's difficult. That transition's really difficult. And I suffered with depression. I was drinking a lot, blew a lot of money, and I was in a really dark place, really confused. And when I got with Riona, I got with a woman who one of the best for me, which I've never really had in relationships throughout my sports career. I've always struggled to see my children, and nothing's ever been stable, which I've got now. I've got my beautiful stepchildren, my kids, and we're all together united. And as you've seen, our story is just, it's really impacting lives and touching people all over the world. And for the first 5 years, no one really knew about our journey. And throughout that 5 years, Riona suffered another second spinal stroke, and she lost all the gains we made. And, she was in hospital, and she asked me to leave her. She says, I'm no good to you. And I turned around and said, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. In fact, we're going to get out of this hospital, and this year is going to be the best year of his life. And I promised her, and I keep on giving these affirmations day in, day out. I take the kids to school. I'd go fly to the hospital to see her. If she was sleeping, I'd be reading a book. She'd get up. Then I'd start helping her move her fingers, move her hands, just little bits and pieces every day, wiggling her toes, to eventually sitting up, then standing up, then taking her first step. And it was basically like training a baby again.
It's just phenomenal. Can I just say, I mean, it's just even like 1/5 of that would be a hell of a lot to have to get through in your life, wouldn't it, Keith? I mean, I've just read The Secret again, which is a book which is all about, what you put out into the universe, you get back. And I think for most people, if you could just distill it down to what it is for you, is it just that innate inner belief that, whatever happens to me, I'm going to get through it, I'm going to get beyond it, and I'm going to attract people to myself that are like me? I mean, what do you put it down to?
With anything I've ever done in my life, I always believe that if you lead with love, then there's always a good outcome. And that's the way I live my life. As a father, as a friend, as a performer, as a businessman, everything comes from my heart. Okay? And obviously, you've got to use your head. But it's just in me. It's just in me to protect and take care of people who I love. And that could be a friend, that could be somebody who I train, it could be somebody I meet on a film set. I'm just be kind, work hard, be kind, and give back. But you can only give back when you're the best you can possibly be, because there's so many people out there that give all this advice and stuff but never take their own advice. They're just, oh, you do this and you should do that, but you know what, you don't do what you're telling me. So very much do as I say, but I'm not walking the talk myself, definitely. And I just think for me, I don't cut corners, and I live a very clean life. I don't drink or anything, and I'm very disciplined. And the reason why, I train really hard and I stay in shape, there's certain things I do out through the day, every single day, that keeps my mind focused and it keeps my mental health intact.
Okay.
So working out's one, meditation, stretching. Obviously, I ended up in hospital 9 weeks ago with a ruptured disc in my neck and my back.
Yeah.
I left the hospital in a wheelchair. And the first thing I thought when I left the wheelchair, am I going to get back on my feet?
Yes.
I didn't think, oh, poor me. I just knew that this was a setback, but I had to overcome it. I had to adapt and overcome. And that's what I've done since I was a kid. People saying, you're not going to be anything, you're not going to achieve anything. And life is tough, but you've got to go head on, man. You've got to go at it, and there's going to be some tough days. There's going to be some tough weeks. But sometimes you just need to rest. You don't quit, you rest. Sometimes you're overwhelmed. And if I'm overwhelmed, you know, I'll get a hot bath and I'll read a book and I'll just have a day off. You know, I'll have a day off. I'll take a few deep breaths.
Do you know, that's so good to hear, Keith, though, because, you know, maybe the perception is people think, maybe people look at you, you know, you're in the peak of your physical fitness. You know, I know you've had injury. We spoke last time and you were heading off to your chiropractor, but, you know, it doesn't come without effort, does it? And I suppose what people need, and it's lovely that you're saying it, is actually give yourself a break when you need a break. I mean, who supports you? Because you are such a massive support to your family. I mean, you just love your family. That comes off the screen when you're watching that and all your posts. But who supports Keith, and who do you lean on? Yeah,
well, I've got my kiddies looking up to me, and you know, I have them in stitches. You know, I'm such a comedian around the house, and I am, yeah. And, you know, my little girl, especially my girls are really, like, close to me, you know, and, you know, I can't really have a bad day when I'm around them, you know, and they rely on Daddy to be strong. Yeah. But if I have an off day, you know, I can speak to Riona. Yeah. You know, in fact, I like to go see my mum, you know, and I'll give my mum a call. Yeah. You know, and that's all I need, really, you know, and maybe one friend. Who I can reach out and we can speak to. But yeah, I just think I've put myself in a position where I'm not vulnerable as much. You know, I work on myself daily, and to work on myself daily, I have to put the effort in. Like you said, I have to put the effort in. But listen, I have doubts. I have that little voice in my head saying to me, "Nah, you can't do that, man. You're not good at that. You need to give in." Listen, I get that all the time. Do you? But I choose to not listen to it. You just got to overcome it, you know, because that's not you. It's just that little monkey brain in your head saying, "No, I have a day off. You know, you want to do a workout, but I feel tired." But then you do the workout and you feel great afterwards. Yeah. You know, it's about overcoming every single day. But what happens with people when they're struggling, they either turn to drugs or drink. Yes. To numb out that pain. That's the worst thing you can do. Now, you've had that chapter in your life, haven't you, as a lived experience, which is why I was so keen to speak to you, because I remember you talking, saying that actually as a young man, you were looking for a connection, weren't you? You were looking for that belonging. Yeah. You know, so how have you sort of transitioned that in your life? You know, what did you find as your belonging? Well, I think family is really important to me. Yeah. Me being a man, you know, not really having a father figure growing up. And I think you go through phases throughout your life. And I think I've come to a point in my life now where I'm a mature man. You know, I've matured into a real man. You know, I don't make rash, you know, I think about decisions before I make them. I make sure my family is okay. And, you know, if my family's happy, I'm happy. But I know if I'm working my butt off and I'm landing these roles and stuff, you know, it's not just me, it's the whole team effort. And that's the way of me providing for my family. And going into the acting business and going from a sport, an athlete, to being an actor, it's a very rare thing that somebody can be good at one thing and then transverse into something else and be good at that. And that's the kind of stubborn mindset I've got, you know. Mickey gave me the opportunity, but I wanted to learn the craft. And not only that, you know, I'm a businessman and I think I'm a people's person. I know how to, you know, I understand people. Yeah. But I've got everything I need, you know. I've got my family here, my missus, who I'm a biggest fan and adore on, and I just, you know, she inspires me every single day. You know, she gets up and she looks after a family of 5 at home, and she can't feel her legs, you know. So what's my excuse? You're so humble. Your host's so humble, though, Keith. And the reality is, I think that's the thing that captivates about your story. But I think, as a human being in your own right, I think your discovery is one that so many other people they're on that journey of discovery, but some people are a bit stuck.
they don't know
Yeah.
how to move beyond it. And I suppose what fascinates me, you know, I'm a coach. I coach people to be successful, so I actually, you know, get paid to teach people what you innately discovered for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think it's about when you know what your values are, call them what you want, but it's the things that matter to you. And in your case, it's family predominantly, and this
Yeah.
desire to provide for them and to remain connected and to maybe have the things you didn't have. You're doing a bloody good job at it, you know, for someone who maybe didn't have the greatest role model in as a dad. You're pulling out all the stops, and yes, we see you on social media, but I can tell it is real. I can tell the sort of love in your children's eyes as they look back at their dad. You know, you're very, very connected. But how do you then become this serial entrepreneur? You know, we were talking before we just started recording about your graphic novel, you know, your trading cards for rugby. You know, how do you just wake up one morning and go, oh, actually, I fancy having a go at that over there, or well, I'll try my hand at that. I mean, what's in your mindset?
Well, that's the thing, you know, sometimes you just don't know, because, you know, RugbyBlood was something that, it was an idea. It popped up in my head. It was an idea that I wanted to write a script, a film script, which was my first film script. And I said to my missus, like, I said, you know, I'm not a writer, I can't write. She goes, of course you can write, what are you on about? And I just sat down one day and I got contacted this guy, this Norwegian writer online. And we decided we were going to write this film about a guy called David King. It was like a 007 type of character, but he played rugby league. He was a professional rugby player.
Yeah.
And his wife gets kidnapped and he hunts down the Russians and saves the day. And I read the film script and I sent it down to Pinewood Studios through a friend. My friend said to me, Keith, why don't you just give me that script and I'll send it over to a film producer at Pinewood. He goes, what, seriously? He goes, yeah, sure. I'll send it down. It's worth a try. And a couple of weeks later, I got a phone call from Deborah Wooten, who was a film producer there. And she said, oh, could we meet you, Keith? We love the script. And I just thought, oh, this can't be happening.
Did you pinch yourself and go, what, me? Really?
Yeah, I went from there, you know, like, if you don't try something, you'll never know. And I went down to Pinewood and they was interested in making the film. Now, in the film business, there's a lot of hurdles to get over to get a film made. You need distribution, you need investors, you need a budget, you need locations, you need attached talent, stars. So what I did a bit of research and realised that there'd never been a rugby comic book about rugby league players.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea came for RugbyBlood. I was going to do like a medium, an origin story of how David King becomes David King. So I reached out to a guy called Paul Roper, who was an artist, and I give him the idea. I goes, listen, I'll give you the story, you put the pictures to the story, and we'll kill it. I'll go to Super League and I'll get Super League to endorse it. Now, this is me being a visionary. He's like, really? You're going to go to Betfred Super League and they're going to endorse it? I goes, yeah, of course. And by the way, that did happen.
Yeah.
So he decided, let's do the David King story, but let's do the story around your real life story, Keith. Let's make David King you.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay.
So the story is pretty much my story. So the kid in the actual first graphic novel is me, and it shows you about a young kid who perseveres and overcomes struggles. Fighting in school, kicked out of school. The only thing what wasn't real in the comic was he loses his mother and is orphaned by his dad. So he's an orphan. But the story is about perseverance and overcoming and doing, never giving up on your pursuit to becoming the best version of yourself. And that's what I did become. And this, the kids have absolutely loved the first book. The second book is like night and day. The artwork is absolutely phenomenal.
Wow.
Now, what I did is I reached out to all the best athletes in the world of rugby, and I asked them, could I use your likeness and use your name and, the way you look for RugbyBlood? And 99% of them said yeah. So not only have I got characters in there, I've got real life sports stars featured in the comic. who are relevant now, who are playing in Australia, in New Zealand, and in England. I've also got Joe Calzaghe in there, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
As a character, and Adam Mills. Adam Mills is a comedian on the last leg. He's in there, and he's got one leg. So yeah, and it's just built up from there. You know, O'Neill's contacted me, and they wanted to do the sporting range. And my vision was, right at the beginning, was to do the film. But I think if we got the anime done, that would be a massive game changer.
And for people who don't know what anime is, can you just tell people what that is, Keith?
Well, anime is animation, like cartoons. It's originally from Japan, and it's basically like a film, but it's art, and it's like a comic book thrown onto a screen. And it's
huge, isn't it? It's so popular. It is so popular. And there isn't anything like that in football or any other sport, is there? Not to my knowledge. No. So you're really pushing the boundaries, which is absolutely fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your film as well, because I've seen I saw you practicing with a gun, which I just kept watching that over and over again. So you obviously had someone sort of teaching you with a gun. I mean, I'd be terrified to hold a gun. I mean, what do you love about the acting? Tell us a bit about when the film's coming out and the process and how much you enjoyed that.
Well, the great thing about acting is, for one, it's all new to me. It's all fresh, you know, and it's a new game. It's new waters for me to be treading in. Yeah. And I think with acting, you can never stop improving. You can always get better. And it's funny because when you act, you're actually being more truthful most of the time than having a conversation with somebody, because sometimes you just, you know, you're talking, but you're not really, like me and you were talking now, we're really, you know, we're into it, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
But with the acting side of things, it's about, you know, obviously learning your lines, which is a skill you need to learn, you know, memorizing, and then, you know, knowing the story and bringing your best to the character and delivering the lines as honestly and truthful as possible. So when people watch it, it looks like it's the first time it's happened. It looks like it's genuine. And that's the thing I like about it. And another thing, it takes me out of my comfort zone.
Yes. Do you like that feeling then?
Well, to be honest with you, since I've been a kid, since I wanted to be an athlete, I've always had to go out of my comfort zone. I was always the fittest. I always pushed myself to the absolute limit. I might not be the most talented player in the world, but I was definitely, they call me an enforcer. I was a very physical type of player, but I never cut corners. You know, I did everything to the T, and I maxed out. I'm absolutely maxed out. And I think if you want to be good at something, you have to absolutely give it everything. And I've learned that. But for me, it's good for me in a way now, because I can do that in life. I've come to a point where everything I do it spills out into my relationships, into my family, into my work, into my business. And I've set a standard for myself of how I want to live my life.
Yeah, and that is so powerful, because actually consistency is king, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, if you just dib out even for a bit, you know, you're only kidding yourself really, and you're not really serious about your goals. So when is the film out?
Yeah, so the film, it's done now, and it looks amazing. And I'll be honest with you right now, the film is a zero budget film, right? This film I've just produced, probably 10,000 maximum, but that's because of the locations, the travel, and all that kind of stuff. But not only did I get all the locations, I got all the actors on board. I helped all the actors, because some were non-actors.
Yeah.
I helped with the script, and you know, I created Jack Sullivan. You know, I embodied him.
You really did. You look. I mean, I saw some clips and stuff, and I was like, properly, like, I don't think I'd want to mess with that guy. He looks properly scary. He's
a scary guy. He's totally opposite to me. He's hunting down this vigilante killer, who's murdering not really nice people, you know, like murderers and rapists. And but obviously I'm a cop and he's a criminal, so I want to catch him, you know. And I basically lost my wife. My wife went missing, and my child. I never saw him again. And that haunts me. It haunts my character. My character, every time he comes home from the beat and he's been out on patrol, he self-medicates by 2 minutes, mate. Shut that door. He self-medicates by drinking alcohol and taking drugs. And it's just a vicious cycle. Every single day he gets up, goes to work, and he's rough and that. But he's only like that because of what happened to his family.
Yeah.
And the film's great, and we're looking. It should have been coming out in May, but now we're looking at probably autumn.
Okay.
And the film, we're hoping to release the film on Amazon Prime.
Great shout. That's great.
Yeah, we're going to release the film on Blu-ray, and we're looking at getting the TV series. We're looking at doing an 8-part series, maybe with Channel 4, ITV, Netflix, or Amazon Prime. So.
Well, that is probably the perfect place to leave today then, isn't it? Leave people wanting more of Keith Mason. Keith, yeah. Can I just say to you, thank you so much. Honestly, this is brilliant, because I think people like you inspire people like me, and that is really just a truism in the world. So thank you for sharing your story with us. I know this is going to appeal to so many people. So from me to you, Keith Mason, thank you so much for spending time and sparing your time. Wish you well. Please say hello to Riona. Wish her continued happiness, the two of you. And who knows, we might be back in touch. But thanks for now, Keith.
Oh, it's an honour. Thank you, Mama.